What is going on, everybody? Happy Thursday, happy end of Q3, and welcome to everybody's favorite show. At least it's my favorite show. That's right, Medical Sales Live. Hello to everybody on Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and Zoom. That's right, we're streaming across all 4 platforms, and I was smart enough to get a new camera, or at least a second camera, so that way you don't have any issues. So, with that being said, as always, comment. I want to hear what city you reppin'. What city you joining in from? Todok joining in from the LBC. Hey, Todok. Glad of you to join. And topic for today. So, and let me type this thing. Setting up goals using BHAG. So, all right. So let me get this all squared away. All right, so medical sales end of quarter, setting up goals using BHAG. That is the thing that we're going to be using. And luckily for all of you, and actually let me grab it for people on my Zoom. I have a free resource for you guys. So this is hold on one second. So end of quarter, right? So today and tomorrow is really all you got. And to be honest with you, is what's done is done, right? Anything, unless literally you're waiting for a signature, at this point, you are not going to get any deal done between today and tomorrow. It's just very, very rare. Again, I like to be optimistic about things. I like to be maybe a little aggressive when it comes to goals. But sometimes you have to be honest with yourself and say, you know what? It's probably not going to happen. You know, if there's one thing that I've learned from people, at least that I've worked with, is that you have to be very realistic in sales as to like, what can you actually do, right? Is somebody really going to sign the deal and move forward? Is a surgeon really going to adopt your product? Or are you just kind of like really, you know, hoping for the best? Hope is not a strategy. So for those who are joining, so hey, we got Jordan from Nashville, Tennessee. All right, Jordan. Douglas from Motown. Todok again, LBC. Gabby from San Antonio. Hey, Gabby. So for those who are on my Zoom, I'm dropping a link. This is a Google Doc for you. And for those who are watching, whether it's YouTube or on LinkedIn, check in the description of this event, and you'll see a link to go and get a free Google template. Now, I cannot take credit for this template. This template was actually, I've seen versions of it, but I think this one I've retrofitted it from Justin Welsh. So Justin, I doubt you're watching this, but if you ever do, thank you for the template. And so BHAG is a thing that stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goals. I don't know if Justin came up with that, but I'm going to credit him. And so the reason why I like this template, so we're gonna do 2 things today. We're going to go through the BHAG template. I'm going to kind of coach you guys on how to think about setting your goals up for the quarter. Then, of course, we're going to do some questions from the people in my program. And on LinkedIn, if you leave a really good comment or question, I'll highlight it. But let me highlight some people. So again, Gabby from San Antonio, Texas. Oh, we got a new face. Nathaniel Stager, Lubbock, Texas. Hey, from West Texas, where I'm from. Thanks, Nate, for joining. And for those of you who are curious, I do want to bring something up. Man, I'll tell you, those Twitch streamers, I have so much respect for them right now because like live streaming ain't easy. So, check my featured section on LinkedIn. Okay, so last thing I want to mention before we jump into it, for those of you who are new to medical sales, you have started as a sales associate, maybe you are a device rep, you know, and it's in you've been in the industry for 3 years or less. I have a special program just for you called the Career Accelerator. Okay, It's part of my main program, so you will be in my main program. But for people who are early in their career, who are very new and not making very much money at all, I've applied a pretty massive discount, and I'll be coaching you within a small group on your career. Okay? If you're interested in this program, or you know somebody who would be a great fit for the program, have them go to my LinkedIn profile, check my featured section. You'll see a post on this. So it's right in my LinkedIn, in my featured section. You'll see some some tiles that you can flip through, and you can read about the program. If you fit that program, you fit the person I describe in that program, go ahead and apply. But I'm just letting you know that I'm going to be closing the applications probably in the next few days. So I would move pretty fast on that. All right. Now, let's get into it. So, setting up goals using the BHAG, right? So, before I show the template, I'm going to walk you guys through. And actually, I'm going to pick, well, we'll see. I was going to just pick something randomly, but if somebody on my Zoom call, whoever the first person is to raise their hand, I will use you as an example, and we will walk through the BHAG together using your goals. If somebody does it, that would be pretty smart because it's pretty much like a free consult at that point. But if not, I'm just going to make something up. Okay, so, Douglas, I knew Douglas was going to beat everybody to it. All right, Douglas, I'm going to bring you on in a second. All right, so let's cover why do we do these types of goals, right? So first of all, the one mistake I saw happen in Silicon Valley, and this is with MedTech startups, this is with tech startups, it just companies in general, is that at the end of the quarter, you're so focused on making stuff happen, right? You're focused on getting a deal through all these things, and you burn a lot of energy when it's energy wasted. Like, you're not going to do anything, you're not going to pull some heroics off in the next 48 hours. I'm sorry to say that, okay? So do not waste these crucial 2 days of work that you can get, right? And what could that be? Sharpening the axe, okay? I'm a big believer in systems over goals because I think goals can be kind of one-sided. However, goals are very important for directionality, right? And so it's important to plan your goal from now, because otherwise, how the hell are you going to hit anything, right? If you just kind of go and just do a bunch of stuff, right? Now, the problem with goals is that people have too many of them. So for the CEOs who are on my call listening, what I recommend is looking up a thing called OKR, Objective Key Results, okay? You can look up Rick Clow from Google, and OKRs is what I recommend you use, okay? For OKRs, or those goals, no more than 5. I personally say 3, okay? And you can map it out. Now, as an individual, okay, focus is important. And a lot of times people, they start the year, they have all kinds of goals. They're going to do this, that, and it's too much. 3 really big goals. And what I would recommend is you try and think of something that is a root cause. So if you accomplish this one goal, how many other things does it help accomplish, right? So for example, right, one of the goals I had for this quarter was I'm going to launch a new website and webinar, right? Why did I not just make it all revenue goals? Because if I launch a new website and webinar, that accomplishes a bunch of other things, right? You can't make your goals just about numbers and revenue, right? That's the biggest thing, okay? But having a focus of 3 specific goals is going to be important. And just as important, you write this down. You can't just put this away and be like, oh, I visited once a week. This is something you have to visit every single freaking day. Every day, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lemurs and squirrels. Every day you have to write this down. So every day this quarter, I woke up, I literally wrote down my 3 goals. This quarter, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do the other. And guess what? Like magic, all 3 of those things were accomplished. And they're pretty damn big goals, okay? So with that being said, let's bring Douglas on. All right. Douglas, go ahead and unmute yourself.
I'm here. Hi, Omar.
Hey, Douglas, how you doing? Thanks for volunteering.
Yeah, I'm awesome.
Okay.
So I'll throw myself out there.
Perfect. No, that's smart, man. So while I do my screen share, Douglas, can you tell the audience, and let me raise the volume. Tell the audience a little bit about you, like what industry are you in, your role, etc.
So I sell soft tissue repair. So I sell biologic for ab wall reconstruction, and not FDA approved, but we work with plastic surgeons for reconstruction issues, and they love it. So it's a kind of a new technology. So that's what I do. So general surgeons, plastic surgeons.
Perfect. Perfect. And thanks for doing that. I was just checking my phone to make sure that that people can hear you, but they can in fact hear you, which is good. Okay. Now, and I'm going to go off camera on Zoom so I keep things from crashing. Okay. Now, let's look at this sheet. Okay. So Douglas, here we go. I'm going to put Douglas's BHAG, and we're going to put it for Q4 2022. All right, so Douglas, and you're going to put your name right here. Okay. Q4 2022. Cycle. All right. Okay. So start date. Let's put the start date. We are going to be in October 1st. Your end date is going to be December 31st. Okay. Now, here's the other thing that I tell people. There's nothing wrong with having let's say a big goal for the year, right? I have one big goal for my business this year. That's it. But the other thing about goals, the reason why I don't like goals, and that's right, I know I'm doing a webinar on goals, but I don't like goals because sometimes they're a little bit too black and white. So the idea is, how do you engineer a system that could technically help you hit that goal, but maybe get you more? Okay. So here's how I have it divided out, because there's more to life than just business. And let's face it, your personal life, your health, that's going to impact whether you're doing good in business. If you look at this as an athlete, I don't know if you notice, but when some professional athletes have a lot of trouble in their personal life, or their health and wellness isn't good, their professional life suffers. So let's start with the first thing. So Douglas, I put here, this was an example of somebody I helped before, developing a thriving community of connections, right? So let's come up with one big, hairy, audacious goal for your personal life. Doesn't have, and think about it as something that's objective. Don't worry about a quantitative number or anything. What's a big, hairy, audacious goal you want to do in your personal life?
Personally, like for health wise, do you think would be a good focus?
So we have a health one. Health and wellness is down here. Personal life. Yeah. So we have one for health and wellness, but personal life, it could be something related to your family. It could be related to you. Let's say you want to pick up meditation, for example. Let's say you want to spend more time, Oh, go ahead. You got one?
Personal life, patience. It's always they say it's a virtue, but I want to spread that virtue in my house. So it's to create that patience in the house.
Oh, create an environment of patience through by example. So you want to become more patient, and then obviously influence your spouse and your kids to be more patient. Okay, perfect. What's a connected medium-term goal? How do you know that'll happen? And feel free, let's think this out real quick. So for you to be patient, right? You need to obviously, what happens, let's talk about what impatience looks like. What does impatience look like for you?
The biggest thing is losing my shit on my son. That's the biggest patience.
Okay.
Where I lose it on.
Okay, perfect.
So to not ever, I don't want to ever raise my voice, to have calm communications. That would be like the desired result, to have calm communications
Got it. So then how about this?
with the family.
Yeah, a connected medium-term goal. So let me type this in. I think this might be off. So there's gonna be 90 days in this quarter. That's technically a medium-term goal. So 45 days. Let's say a connected medium-term goal is to say have more than 50% of days that are that I achieved patience, right? And here's the important thing, Douglas. Make a note that I'm focusing it on the thing that you want versus putting things like have 50% days where I did not, lose my temper, right? This is a very subtle thing, but it's very, very important,
Absolutely.
right? So the start value is 0, the target value, let's see, 50% of days, so by mid-quarter, that would be 22. So we're going to put your target value at 23 days, okay? So as you can see here, there's a counter, right? So if we put, if you put 23, right? Whoop, 18. Ah, dang it. Oh, wait. I know why. This start value has to be 0. So current value, 14. There we go. Now it's going to start changing colors. Okay. So now you have your target value, your midterm, which is create an environment of patience by example. Over 50% of your days, you have to feel that you've achieved patience, and you'll know, right? So every day, I would recommend end of the day, you come in here and say, okay, did I do it? And you put in your current value, 1, 2, 3, right? Okay. Now here's the very important thing, and again, the way you live your life in one aspect is the way you live your life in all aspects. It's like the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So your daily process, what's something that you can do on a daily basis that'll help you achieve patience?
That would go back to that meditation.
Okay, are you meditating?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So do I. Do you use... Oh, go ahead.
I said the key is being consistent.
Yeah.
So there's times throughout my life where I would practice and not practice.
Do you use
So that leads to that daily activity.
do you use a meditation app by any chance?
I have someone that I work with that it is a guided meditation. Yes.
Okay. So is there a counter on
Okay.
there?
Yeah, there's a calendar. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So daily process.
Actually, the person I use uses the same app that you use for your learning program. Is it Kajabi or whatever?
Oh, Kajabi,
She has the
perfect.
program, yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
so I'm gonna put meditate every morning. Can you meditate for 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so 10 minutes. All right, there we go. Your target value is gonna be 90. Okay. And what's a second daily process? What's something else that can help you develop more patience?
I was thinking this through as we're going through. I think a 5-second rule when communicating with anyone in my family, but just like everything, just like you said, everything, it relates to everything. So I think with anything, any reaction that you might be put off by or might start to frustrate, or where I would lose my patience, take a 5-second rule and do an internal meditation or breathe for 5 seconds before reacting.
Got it. So how about apply 5-second rule at least once a day. And this is and you'll be able to do this because look, you're dealing with forget about your kids, right? You're going to be dealing with like people, you're dealing with technology,
Yeah.
right? So every day, let's say your internet's going slow,
Traffic.
the moment that happens, right? And what I want you to say, I'm going to add this here. meditate. Okay, I'm going to here. So meditate every morning for 10 minutes and start by saying out loud, I am a patient person. Because the First Amendment in this country exists for a reason. There's a reason why people would kill themselves over the freedom of speech. Because in order to think, you have to articulate, you have to speak. And it's very important, the words that come out of your mouth. And you have to audit yourself. And I'm very big on this in my family. And we watch our language in our family, very much so, about how we even say things, right? So what I would suggest is to make sure that every day you start out by, you can write it down, but you can say it out loud. I am a very patient person. I'm a very patient person, because then you'll become the person that you say you are, right? And this is like, people know I've read so many different books. I've tested it myself. It's funny how this all works, but that's really how it works. All right, business.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get this out. So business-wise, you're gonna have your own goals, like with your company, but business-wise, what's a big, hairy, audacious goal? It could have a number, doesn't have to have a number. You know, what's a big, hairy, audacious goal for you?
Now you're saying like within my organization, you think?
Yeah.
Or
No, just
in general?
your business in general.
Within my organization, I want to double my territory. Well, I will double my territory.
All right.
So it's at least 1.5 million. Like right now, I'm sitting at about 700,000.
Perfect.
Let's make it bigger. 2 million. 2 million. So I'll probably end this year at 1 million.
Double the territory. Okay. So, and then I'm going to even make these more powerful. I will say, all right, so you're going to double your territory to 2 million. Oops, and I put this in the wrong place. All right, so double your territory to 2 million. Okay, what's a connected medium term goal that to let you know that you're on track? Is it as simple as saying that you got, $1 million in accounts, or is there like a different metric we can measure? What's something that we can measure that may not be tied to revenue?
I know I need to get 4 a non-measured, like I want to get 4 new surgeons, 4 of each, general and plastic surgeons, aligned with me, my company, my product.
Oh, okay, perfect. So there's gonna be a total of 8. So 4 general, 4 plastic. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. So target value is gonna be 8. All right, perfect. So, and very important, I always talk. So your weekly process, number 1, what are you going to do to get to those 4 new general surgeons and 4 new plastic? What's your weekly activity? And if you need help, I don't mind making suggestions.
No, I need to schedule at least one new physician reading a week, whether that be lunch, journal club, any touch, like face to face. I need to send at least 7. I'm into the video messaging. So 7 videos, 3 days a week.
So you're gonna send.
Along with that.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna stop you. So this is good. The problem is that when you have a lot of different activities, it becomes tough, right? So of all those things, what do you think is going to be the one thing that's going to move the thing forward? So the meeting with a surgeon, right? That's an outcome, but below that is it's tied to an activity. It's probably sending those vidyards, right?
Yeah, the vidyards and building my network as I'm doing through LinkedIn. Those are the 2.
Okay. So you said 7. So you're going to send 7 vidyards 3 times a week.
3 and 3. 3 Vidyard sent drops and 3 LinkedIn posts that are tied towards.
Okay. Now I see what you're doing. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. So 3 times 4, that's 12 weeks, times 3 equals 36. So you're gonna send 36 Vidyards, okay? And now if we look here, there we go. Let's go to day and time. Okay, the way you're gonna do this is you're gonna send 3 per week, okay? So then your target value is going to be 36, okay? On LinkedIn, 3, let me get rid of this thing. 3 LinkedIn posts, or actually, why am I doing this? It's just going to be 36. 36, you're going to do 36 LinkedIn posts, which means there's going to be 3 per week, okay? And it's going to be 36 for your target value. Okay, perfect. All right. Yeah, and as you go, right, be sure to gauge it, right? So that way, if something's off, like you'll be able to tell your progress. You know, really be honest with yourself. Like, am I actually on track to do this, right? And now, the last thing, the health and wellness. All right. So what's a big, hairy, audacious goal that you are going to hit per week? And actually on your Vidyards, I'm going to put in the morning, and I'm going to say bundled creation every Sunday. So that way your posts are ready to go. And I think the Vidyards, you know, I think they're good to do in the morning and stuff. But what's your big, hairy, audacious goal that you want to accomplish for health and wellness?
For health and wellness, I've truth be told, like I've thrown this up the last couple of years and I haven't hit it, so I've refocused on more of the process than the goal. But let's throw out there 225. I weigh 240.
Okay.
245, if I'm honest with everyone. So 225. I want to shed 20 pounds, but transform it into lean body mass.
All right, perfect. Connected medium term. So you weigh 240 right now, right?
Correct.
Okay, so then connected medium term. Let's just get you to 235. Okay, so your starting value is 240. Your target value is 235. Okay. Now, daily processes, okay? What are you going to do every day to make sure this happens?
No excuse, but not to work out daily.
Okay.
My wife had the Peloton, whether it's treadmill or bike, and boot camp.
I see.
The weights, I got it all.
So here, this is where systems are important. And Scott, my mentor from afar, Scott Adams, taught me this. So rather than saying, hey, I gotta work out for, do this or do that. So how about every day do 30 minutes of any exercise. And actually, I'll make it even easier. Do 15 minutes of any exercise every day. Because if you start exercising, you're going to do more than 15 minutes. But the goal is that you want to get a system that is so strong.
Have it.
Yeah, and let me give you an example. It could be that you have a day where, you're walking around a lot, or and you're like, not gonna do exercise today, but you went for a walk. It's like, all right, well, I did it. So Scott has a system for working out where he says, you know, my goal is every day to do 30 minutes of exercise, like every day. And so some days he will literally get in his car, drive to the gym, walk in, look at the gym and say, nope, not today. Get in the car and drive back home. But his system is so strong that it still got him to show up. And that's the most important part, right? So it's 15 minutes of any exercise every day. All right. So let's see. That would be your target value is 90. Okay. And I would say, and even me, this is going to be a goal for me. I'm trying to get into the habit of doing all my working out, even going to jujitsu in the morning. I feel so much better. And then like end of the day, sometimes I'm just like dragging, and I kind of like to work late, you know? So try and do this every morning when you wake up. Here's another daily process for you to drop that weight. I would say eliminate eliminate one bad habit food via education. So you're just going to educate yourself and just start eliminating foods around the house, out of your diet, right? I'll say this is a weekly one. Every week, and maybe you do this on the weekends. So then that's going to mean that there are, let me see. So if it's every week, 4 times 3, that's 12. Yeah, so that's going to be 12. So your target's going to be 12. So you're going to eliminate 12 different things. And then here's a daily process for you. I know I put 15 minutes of exercise every day. Every day when you wake up, upon waking up, okay, this is what you're going to do. Like before you meditate, before you do anything, and what I recommend is I actually go into my closet. I have a walk-in closet. I just do my exercise meditation in there. When you wake up, this is all you're going to do, Douglas. You're just going to do 10 squats, 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups each morning. That's it, right? That is it. And the goal is just not to break the chain. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Now let's zoom out. And then now that we have this done, I'm gonna send this to you. Let me stop sharing, and let me stop sharing on StreamYard. And let me share. I'm gonna send this to you, Douglas, via email right now. Here's the most important part about this. Okay, so this is the part I didn't write down, but I need you to write this down and keep this in mind. So this spreadsheet, download Google Docs onto your phone and have it. And what I would recommend is if you can print this out, right? It's even better. So you have something physical, right? Now, the most important thing, Douglas, about this is every day while you're trying to accomplish these goals, that you start your day you don't even have to check to see where you're at. Every day you're going to say, I'm a really patient person. I'm in incredible shape, right? And I forgot already the third one. But you almost have to have a mantra every single day saying those things that you've already achieved them every single day. So that way you orient your mind towards taking action towards them, and then just get in the habit of opening your spreadsheet and work it into your day to do this. And what I recommend is, instead of doing it at the end of the day, do the next morning, right? When you meditate, you do these things. Update your spreadsheet based on the previous day. Does that make sense? Oh, Douglas, you're muted. Got it. Okay. Perfect. So I sent you the email, Douglas. So Oh, okay. Yeah, so I sent you an email, so go ahead and use that sheet. For everybody else who's watching, you can check in the notes or on the post itself, and I left it in there. So, Douglas, thank you so much for hopping on. I'm gonna take you off for a little bit and open it up to general questions. So does anybody have any questions just regarding what I just showed? If there's any questions at all, go ahead and comment. Let me see. I think I got a comment here. Oh, we got Gabrielle Massey from Austin, Texas. Hey, Gabrielle. Thank you for joining. So what's really important about this process is the consistency. Now, some people don't like to do this, but what I would say is that if you have any aspirations to make more money in your life and manage people, this is what it boils down to. And I learned this the hard way because I personally was never good at this stuff until I learned, oh, what does like a CEO get paid a lot of money for? What does a VP get more? They essentially get paid more money to organize activities around people, right? And that starts with yourself. So if you cannot manage, these spreadsheets with yourself, what makes you think you're going to be very, very good at managing that with other people, right? Now, I know some people are going to argue with me about that, but I really don't care. And so what I'd say is that if you get in a good habit of coaching yourself, right, that's going to be very helpful with the people you lead, etc. The other thing that I was going to say, and Douglas, now I remember this is the other thing I wanted to mention, is that in this process, it'll happen. You might have a bad day, right? You may break the chain, right? Like, so some of these goals are kind of aggressive, some of them are daily processes. If that happens, right, what you should not do is beat yourself up about it, right? And I think specifically, I'm going to speak to the men. I know women are very hard on themselves as well, but I'm going to speak to men because I'm a man, and so I can relate to that better. But I think men in general, we have this thought that in order for us to accomplish things, we have to beat ourselves up. We have to be really hard on ourselves and everything. And we end up doing that with our coworkers, with our employees, with our children. And there's nothing wrong with being hard. God knows I know I'm extremely hard on myself. But treat yourself the way you would treat somebody you deeply care about, that you love, right? And when you do that, you're not gonna, call yourself an idiot or a loser or any of these things, right? Because if somebody you deeply care about was trying to accomplish some goals and they have a bad day, you're not gonna beat them up. I mean, if you do, then you're just an asshole, And so what I would say is like, be patient with yourself. And the good thing is that when you do these daily processes, look for positive signals. What I just said right now is very important. Is that when people are trying to accomplish goals, yes, you should be realistic. If something's not working, you have to be objective about it. But at the same time, you have to look for positive signs, because just like in a football game, or if you saw the Patriots, they're down 27-3, when playing the Falcons. How did they come back? They were focused on small little wins, right? And those things started to snowball. So it's the same thing with you. If you focus on like little negative things or things that are not working, then all of a sudden you're training your mind to just look for problems everywhere you go. And then when you look for problems, that's where you put your energy, your focus, and then, that's how people who are failures and miserable end up being failures and miserable. Did you ever notice people who are wildly successful? They seem to be, everything is great in their life, family life, personal life, everything. It's because that's how these things grow and they translate to each other, right? The human brain does not know how to separate my work life from my family life, from my friendship life. It's all one life. Our brains have not evolved to separate these things. We think they have, but they haven't. And so when you try and do that in one area and you translate it to others, it all ends up being in harmony. It's very symbiotic, right? Isn't that beautiful? I'm sure some of you teared up for that. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to open it up for any questions. So you can ask me any questions at this point. So on Zoom, raise your hand or drop it in the chat. On LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, you have a question, drop it in the chat. If it's good, I'll answer it, but I'm prioritizing people in my program. So let me put this up. All right. So ask me anything. All right. So I'm looking over at Zoom. We don't have any questions over there. Doesn't look like we have any questions on LinkedIn just yet, but there's a little bit of lag. So last thing that I would say is what I recommend. What I recommend, and again, for those who are, if you're new to medical sales, you're an associate, and you're trying to level up, make more money, move up in your career, etc. Go to my feature section of my profile, apply for my Career Accelerator. We'll see if we'll take you. I've filled 6 spots out of 10. I got a message from somebody on LinkedIn in Oregon who told me to call them, and I'm assuming that's to accept their offer. So in that case, that means that 7 out of 10 spots have been filled. So I'm filling up fast. So I would recommend going and applying like ASAP. So the other thing I was going to say to everybody is today and tomorrow, look back at the quarter very objectively. Go back through your emails. Go back through your calendar. Okay. And what I want you to do, and sorry, I need to adjust this banner. Go back through your calendar, emails, etc. for wins and where you can improve. Okay, so this is very important. Go back through your entire calendar for the quarter. Go back through your emails, okay? What you're looking for is, first of all, looking for wins. Because a lot of times, look, sales is tough. When we get a deal, when something good happens, a demo, we forget about that very quickly. We move on to the next thing. And sales is a psychology game. Not just with your prospects, with yourself too. You're gonna have down weeks, right? It just happens. And so we have to be able to go back in time and look at the wins that we got and say, yeah, I remember how badly I wanted to get that meeting. I remember how badly I wanted that deal. Because those are the things that you're able to take and project them into the next quarter, mentally, from an energy standpoint, so you can act towards achieving your goals. I know that some of you guys are jerks and you're rolling your eyes about this, right? But this is how success works, right? You need to look for small things that happened in the past, you embody them, and then when you think in the future about what you're trying to achieve, you have the positive energy, right? The wins from the past to kind of help you move towards that. Because what most people do is that if you're a salesperson, you had a great quarter, great. That's all that's on your mind. You're going to the next quarter and you kill it. But if you didn't have a great quarter, guess what most salespeople do going to the next quarter? You think they start fresh and say, hey, it's a fresh new quarter. I'm going to get this. No, in the back of their mind, all they're thinking about is how they didn't hit their number for this quarter, and they just focus on loss. They focus on negativity. They focus on everything that did not work. And guess what? Whether you believe in God or the universe, that's what you get. You just get more of that. Have you ever noticed that in a lot of companies, there are some salespeople that no matter what's going on, they're just constantly hitting their number. They're just doing so well and everything. And there's other salespeople that are just failing every single quarter. There's a reason for that. So for those of you, and I want to talk, if and I see, I guess there's more people joining the stream, so I appreciate it. If you're one of those salespeople that did not hit their number this quarter, you had a bad quarter, okay? I want you to listen to me right now. I'm speaking specifically to you. And let me put that up on the banner. All right. So here's my $1 million advice to you. If you missed your quota, if you had a bad quarter, whether you're in sales or not, the most important thing that you can do right now, okay, is manage your confidence. Nothing else matters at this point. Even if God comes down and gives you a playbook on how to achieve quota next quarter, you are not going to be able to execute on that playbook if you are not confident, if you are operating from a point of scarcity and fear and negative. You're just not going to execute it, right? And so these next 2 days, what I highly recommend is you start by going through your calendar, go through your emails, Look for the wins. I guarantee you, no matter how bad your quarter is, you can find some wins. You can find some things. I want you to write them down. Reflect on them. Say, hey, you know what? This good thing happened. And try and figure out, what did you do that day that made that thing happen? What did you do that week? Because that's going to be the key for you to turn things around next quarter, right? And then after you come up with some wins, and it could be small wins. It doesn't have to be you got to do. It could be that you got a doctor to connect with you on LinkedIn. Maybe somebody responded to you on email. Maybe you did a really good job on a demo. VP recognized you. Like whatever the hell it is, it doesn't matter how big, how small. Just look for wins. Once you have this list of wins, reflect on it, meditate on it, be appreciative of it. Now, with that state, like you feel good, you've got some dopamine, squirting in your brain. Now go back and objectively look at, okay, well, what went wrong? Like what could, and don't even look at it as what went wrong. Look at, well, where can I do better? Don't ever put yourself, behind by saying, what did I do wrong? Where was I bad? If you pay attention to the way I talk, I never, it's very rare. I never say things like, I'm really bad at this, or I suck at this, or whatever. I always say things like, well, I'm not that good at this, or I could be better at that, right? That reframe is huge. Okay, so go back and be objective and think about, what did you do? Most importantly, where was your activities, right? Where were your activities? So a lot of times when it comes to your success as a salesperson, it boils down to what Douglas and I just did, managing your activities. So again, Douglas came up with 3 big, hairy, audacious goals, right? What were beneath those goals? There were some key objectives, right? Some midterm objectives to hit. But below that, the only thing you have control of, your daily activities. That is it. What do you take action on? Okay? So again, look through and objectively come and map that out. And every single day, you really have to write it out. You have to talk out. You have to talk about your goals. And you have to talk about them as if you already hit them. Look, I'll be frank, I had a huge, insane revenue goal for my course this quarter. Like really big. It was highly aggressive. I achieved that goal in net 63, 64 days. So like halfway into the quarter. I couldn't believe it. Why did it happen? Is it because I had wishful thinking and I said, oh, well, if I just talk about it enough? No. The reason why it happens is that every day I started out by saying, I'm going to hit this number. It's going to happen. And then every day I took action towards that based on my activities. And then those things compounded and I blew past that number. Funny how life works. That's how it works. It's literally, this is on demand, my friends, 24/7, right? And so that's what I recommend you guys do. And let me see. We might have a question. Nope, that was a comment. Okay, thank you. That's very nice of you. All right. Any questions on LinkedIn? Any comments? It's very quiet. End of quarter, people usually this is usually on replay when they check it out. So any questions at all? Zoom, any questions? Oh, Douglas, we got a question from you. All right. Douglas, you're on.
Thanks. I appreciate the exercise, and I appreciate you and everyone holding me accountable for that too. But my question is, speaking of daily activities, and not to be a LinkedIn salesperson, but I did go ahead and up for Sales Navigator, and I know going through the course you touched on it, but do you have a laser focus of why Sales Navigator on LinkedIn is beneficial and what we could do to most effectively utilize that towards the medical sales network effects program?
Yeah. So did you already upgraded to Sales Navigator?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So let me put this on my banner. Hold on. Question.
Because to be honest, I've played around with it a little bit, but I just, amongst all the minutia, everything else, I haven't had time to dive in.
Yes. So the question is, should you use LinkedIn Sales Navigator? Yes and no. So here, let me start out with the part where I say no. Sales Navigator should augment your activities on LinkedIn. It should not replace them. LinkedIn wants you to use Sales Navigator to replace those activities. The reason why is that I remember a time when Sales Navigator costs like, I don't know, I think it was like $40 a month. Now it's
Yeah.
$900 a year, right? And the way they're able to do that is that as a salesperson, they make it very easy just to do everything in Sales Navigator. So you do it. You build your lists in there. And then when LinkedIn comes around and says, hey guys, guess what? Surprise, we're raising the price. You're stuck because your business is there, right? So that being said, what I like to use Sales Navigator for is, yes, you can use Sales Navigator to build your lists. Use it to look at things such as activity. So you can, when you filter for certain search criteria, there are certain things like seeing, like if you search general surgeons in the United States, right? Then you can use certain criteria such as what general surgeons were mentioned in the news in the last 30 days. Or one of my favorite filters is who posted in the last 30 days. So you can see, that's where in my webinar I show that there's like 17,000 orthopedic surgeons in the United States on LinkedIn, and out of them there's 2,000 that posted. So when you find that number like in your area, you've kind of identified also who's active. Because then you can go and look at those posts and say, okay, who's engaging with these posts? Now you're starting to understand like your market and how it works. So those are some ways that I like using Sales Navigator. Of course, there's in-mail credits, but this is where I say you have to always use LinkedIn natively. You want to build that book of business within your own network. So you can use Sales Navigator, but put yourself in a position where you go on LinkedIn. This is where you use it, Sales Navigator, and you can click these three dots and say view on LinkedIn. Always do that so you can add them, and now they're in your network. So if Sales Navigator goes away, becomes more expensive, you still have those contacts because they're part of your network, and it's not all being held hostage on Sales Navigator. Does that make sense? Perfect.
Sure.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, and I use Sales Navigator a lot, but I would really love it for you to learn some tricks, and then in our member group, if you can post anything that you've learned, I would really appreciate that. You've been really great at sharing some really great value, Douglas, so I just want to encourage you to do that.
For sure.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, Douglas. I appreciate it. All right. Fantastic. Okay, so I think we're good for the evening. I want to thank you all as well. And again, like just to bring it up one last time, if you missed your quota, right? You had a bad quarter, that's okay, right? The quarter was a failure, you are not. Okay? It's very important that you understand that, okay? These things happen, right? And so you get to decide how the story is going to change for you. Q4 is here. Are you going to be able to turn it around, right? It's going to really be dependent on how you manage your confidence and your focus and your activities. That all being said, as much as I don't want to say this, at the end of the day, if you're not in the right market, you don't have the right technology, there's only so much that you can do, right? And I know a lot of sales leaders, they want to say, oh, like that's the wrong attitude to have. Well, sometimes you have to be honest with yourself about things, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But that being said, great salespeople, they find a way to win. Find a way to win, right? So if you focus on that and you map it out, again, sit down today and tomorrow, sit down on your butts and look through what happened this past quarter, really do a deep analysis, and then start preparing for the next quarter. I would say today and tomorrow, unless you're at the hospital or you're doing something, you better prioritize and do that. I'm doing that for my own business, right? These next 4 days, right? Because I know the quarter technically starts this Saturday, but it's a weekend. These next 4 days, I'll tell you what, I'm holding my own little mastermind right here in the compound, where I'm going through my entire quarter. What did I do well? What could I be better at, right? What are my goals going to be for next quarter? How am I going to hit them, right? And I would say Q4 is extremely important for every salesperson. And the reason why is that you can have a bad Q1, bad Q2, bad Q3. You really don't want to have a bad Q4, okay? Forget about quota, because you can miss quota in Q4, but still end the year strong and good. So you better put together a good plan so you can finish strong, because guess what? As soon as Thanksgiving hits, like it's pretty much done at that point because of the holidays and everything. And what you do not want to happen is that from Thanksgiving all the way till New Year, you don't feel good about your quarter, right? You don't feel like you accomplished much, like all these things. And then it's like a slow bleed. It's like you're bleeding yourself out to the end of the year. And I'll tell you what, really hard to start Q1 of next year when you've bled yourself out and like slugged it down to the end of Q4 and you don't feel good about anything you've done. Do not do that. Spend the next 2 days planning this out. I cannot emphasize this enough. I'm like a broken record. So, because some people just don't want to learn. They want to learn the hard way. Don't learn the hard way, okay? All right, everybody. I'm going to call it there. Happy Q3. For those who hit their quota, don't get comfortable, my friends. Don't rest on your laurels. And for those who didn't, hey, we've all been there. We've all had a bad quarter, okay? The question is, what are you going to do to analyze how you did this quarter, what you could be, better at, and how are you going to translate that to the next quarter, okay? I believe in you guys. And as always, for those who are new to medical sales, you're an associate, go apply for my Career Accelerator. You have to be in the industry for 3 years or less. If you're in the industry for 10 years, you can apply for my regular program. You're not getting into the Career Accelerator. So, all right, everybody. Have a wonderful evening. I'll catch you later.